Alright. Woo! Anybody who can name that TV show theme in either the chat or in the comments below this video, you will get kudo points and a very special shout out in today's live stream. Woo! Or if you post it in the comments below where it is from, then you will get a special shout out in either the next stream or some other video that I do. It's a good show that is from. Very good show. Anyways, we will begin the podcast in just a couple of minutes. Here, just wanted to make sure that we leave enough time for people to know that the stream is, of course, live, and so people can get on in. They can get their cups of coffee ready and all of that wonderful jazz. I better make sure I have my phone on to I am the best. I'm the best. That way we are ready for our celebrity segment. Okay. Alright. Got one person watching. Awesome. I can never tell if that's supposed to say that I'm watching it or somebody else is watching it. Never quite figured that out yet. Don't know. Could be counting me as well as everybody else, but I also don't understand the auto lighting stuff. It seems really strange. It goes from like green and all of a sudden it went to orange. Of course, you probably won't have noticed that. I will understand what I'm talking about because I'm watching the live feed on my computer, which is a few seconds behind what I'm actually recording. So it's as near to live as possible. Anyways, yes, we will begin in just a minute here. If any of you are in the chat, go ahead and say hi. Get your questions ready. Make sure you have your coffee. We're going to rock and roll. As soon as I get the eye crusties on my eye. Gosh. Any of you hate that? You just wake up and it's like you have a salad worth of croutons stuck in your eye. Oh. Okay. Now that I've completely wiped the sleep out of my eyes, hopefully. I don't know, maybe it's the natural light from out there instead of just the normal light? I don't know. I don't know why it goes greeny. It's strange. There's like nothing green in here. Oh, there's my pillow. That's like the only thing. So yeah, all the walls are this creamy color. Creamy vanilla-y color. The ceiling I believe is white. The floor is a dark gray. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyways, I believe, without further ado, ladies and germs, we will begin the Chitty-Chat podcast here. So, we will begin in 3, 2, 1, mark. Heyo everyone, welcome to the Chitty-Chat cast, a podcast dedicated to talk about random stuff, because why not? I am your host, MacGyver. And this week's weekly quote actually comes from one who is probably very argued about in social media, or at least in fandoms, and that is 10th Doctor. Quote coming from him, not quite sure which episode, but it is, "Some people live more in 20 years than others do in 80. It's not the time that matters, it's the person." Which will become very evident with today's main topic, which we'll get to when the time comes for that. All these time-related puns, because we will then be talking about time travel. We'll get that in just a couple minutes here, but welcome to the live stream, any of you who are watching live on the YouTube, as well as hello to any of you watching the rebroadcast there out on the YouTube. So, it is currently the 12th of November. Having this wonderful, nice long weekend. I had yesterday, Veterans Day, off from school. Very nice after a very hectic Thursday of having to give a very strenuous speech. So, enjoying my weekend. I hope all of you guys are enjoying yours as well. And yeah, this should be a very good podcast. So, we of course will continue the tradition of the podcast currently of going through my favorite movies and movies that I have seen from every year that I've been born, plus going back 20 more to capture all those good old oldies. So, this year we'll actually be covering 2 years, only because of the small amount from the first year. I decided, well, we'll go into the second year just as well, just so we have enough to talk about. So, we will be starting in 1982. This is a year of quite a few movies. 80s really were the start of a lot of horror movies, which really became popular around that time. I wasn't a fan, so a lot of the main popular movies that came out I actually haven't seen and probably won't, just for the fact of their nature. But the first one that I had seen was Blade Runner, which many consider a cult classic. Now, the thing with Blade Runner is I watched it because that's like the movie that everybody talks about as like the best movie ever or the movie to watch, and I really wasn't over impressed with it. I mean, I mainly watched it for Harrison Ford. I wasn't watching it for the plot or anything. I really was watching it for what it was about. I was watching it for the actor. I was like, oh, I want to watch a Harrison Ford movie. Then realized he's not in a whole lot. So I was like, I'll finally watch Blade Runner, see what it's like. And to tell you the truth, I really wasn't overly impressed. I mean, I understand the mood. It's supposed to be this darkness and everything, this like underbelly of the city and of crime and whatnot, but I don't know, it just didn't catch my interest. I mean, sure, the main character that Harrison Ford plays is interesting. He has a cool vehicle, cool gun and everything, but it was sort of slow, and there really wasn't much action that happened till a little towards the end. And yeah, it just seemed pretty slow. There really wasn't much to keep you going. I mean, I started watching it, and then I actually went off and built with Legos while watching it, just because it didn't keep me interested enough to solely focus on it. And yeah, they're doing the remake, which is, what are they calling it? Oh, Blade Runner 2049, I believe, is the new one coming out next year. I can't remember if Harrison Ford's going to be in that one too, but it's supposed to have like Ryan Gosling, Jared Leto, and some other actors. So I don't know. I probably won't watch it. If I do, it'll be on DVD or something. But I won't go to theaters to see it. So if any of you guys understand why people love it so much, then, well, I actually loved a different movie that came out that year. I don't know what inspired myself, my dad, and my brother to watch it, but it is an amazing movie. It's actually a Disney movie. At least the sequel is. I'm not sure about the first one. I'd have to look that up here, so I will do that while I'm talking to you. But that movie is, of course, Tron, the video game crossover with the real world movie starring, I believe, Jeff Bridges was in the first one as well. I'm glad I'm looking this up so I don't talk out of my butt from this. Yes, Jeff Bridges was the original person playing Kevin Flynn, where the whole thing about the movie is guy works for security company, and he's a bit of a hacker, runs this gaming arcade, and is asked to sort of hack in to see about this certain project they're working on, and this machine zaps him and transports him into the game of Tron, in which is where the security program sort of controls everything and whatnot. This is what introduced to the sort of like laser frisbee disc. There's the iconic Tron holding the disc above his head. There's the light cycles. It's just such a really good movie for something so old that, sure, the graphics and CGI in it don't look that impressive, but in itself it's such a good movie. It's a little on the longer side. It's an hour and a half, but it's still an amazing movie. And has Jeff Bridges, which you can't mock him too much. So really good movie. And Jeff Bridges also starred in the sequel Tron Legacy, which came out in 2010. Also extremely good. Still hopefully waiting for the third movie, which they had always sort of leaked about after the second movie came out and everything, just because the second one was really good. That was like one of the really big movies for Olivia Wilde, but they just never mentioned anything about doing the third one, so hopefully one day they'll get to it. But I don't know, it's sort of like when people said there was going to be a second Goonies movie, and that never happened. So I wouldn't keep my hopes up too much for it, but maybe one day they'll do either a really good remake or they'll go along some other lines in the Tron universe. So those were the only two actually from 1982, so that's why I also went to 1983. This, of course, was what many people probably consider their favorite Star Wars film, and that is Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And for the longest time, this was also my favorite Star Wars movie for many reasons. Return of the Jedi was the last one, so you're sort of looking of the original trilogy, so you're sort of looking for it to wrap things up. It sort of come to some big climax before it ended, and you're just interested in things like you wanted to know, is Han Solo going to come back? You didn't know what was going to happen to him, and you want to know what was going to happen to Luke because he lost his hand. Of course, many people are going to be like, oh, this is spoilers. The movie came out 33 years ago, so it's not really spoilers anymore. I will tell you when I'll get to spoiler territory and everything. But so that came out, and I guess one of the main things that really caught the attention of it was, especially at the beginning, there's the whole thing with Jabba's what's it called, solar barge, I think it's called, and everything, to where it starts off with everybody going in. There's Leia disguise goes in, her plan fails. CP3O and R2D2 go in. For some reason, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, so please bear with me for any inaccuracies. They go in, and then of course there's the whole Luke going in, they going into the Rancor pit, killing the Rancor and everything. Then they go out. Han has been taken out of the carbonite and everything, and then this whole huge wonderful action scene there. Of course, many people probably say, oh, they love that beginning part partially because of Leia and the slave outfit, but I like it more for the action personally, especially the part where everything kicks off, where Luke jumps on the plank, goes, catches the lightsaber, cuts it, Lando comes out, he starts shooting and everything goes wild. Of course, this is where we see the end of Boba Fett falling into the pit. So yeah, and then of course there's Han doing nothing because his eyesight is bad because of being in the carbonite. And then of course it goes off and it has all this stuff, but at some point Yoda, he unfortunately dies, and then they go off to the wonderful world of Endor, which many people love the Battle of Endor, mainly because it's just very unique, just because of the large redwood-esque trees fighting there with the ATST? I don't believe that's it. Yes, the ATST. Oh! Michael Wilby, if you were watching, you'd be so proud of me. Oh, yes, the ATST walker. I can actually bring up a photo right now. Ta-da! That's what it is. The ATST. Sorry, I had that programmed for something else earlier. But yes, the ATST is going through and everything. There's the speeder bikes, which were so cool and everything. And then, of course, the Ewoks themselves. These, like, half-human-sized Care Bear-esque teddy bears, basically, with their spears. And, yeah, they're just unique way of talking. The fact that they just look so cute, and the way they move and everything. It's awesome. And the fact that these little teddy bears are taking on and killing all of these stormtroopers with these makeshift weapons of spears and sticks and stones. And this is, of course, where the whole stormtroopers can't hit the broadside of a barn, is because of the fact that they lose so easily on Endor. And then, of course, there's the whole Luke going up and fighting Vader and the Emperor, and the whole scene there, the Death Star blowing up for the second time and everything. And then at the end there's the whole party and whatnot, and then the final fanfare, and that's where they thought Star Wars was going to end, but no, they had to go and make the prequel trilogy. Yep. Ooh. A bit of a buzz there from the coffee. That is fine. Anyways, other movie that came out this year, a movie that starred a plethora of actors, which I will look up for your knowledge, and that is, of course, S.E. Hinton's novel adaptation movie of The Outsiders. One of the movies that sort of been considered, I don't want to say as iconic, but good movie featuring a ton of wonderful roles. Has Matt Dillon playing Dallas, Ralph Macchio playing Johnny Cade, of course Patrick Swayze playing Dale Curtis, C. Thomas playing Ponyboy, here's Mia, Rob Lowe playing Soda Pop, Emilio Estevez playing 2-Bit, Tom Cruise playing Steve Randall, which nobody ever realized that was Tom Cruise just because of how young he is and how little screen time he actually had. Leif Garrett playing Bob. Just ton of amazing actors in it. And yeah, I originally saw it back in my 8th grade year of school, because one of the things was we actually had to make we actually had to read, sorry, not me. We actually had to read the book by S.E. Hinton, which is beautiful, wonderful, probably at least my top 20 maybe favorite books of all times, probably at least. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yes, Outsiders, and yeah, we read the book, and then of course we saw the movie in class, which took a couple class periods because it's an hour and a half, and we had, I don't know, we had like half hour, 45-minute class periods, but for some reason there's always the discussing of stuff and everything, and trying to find out where you were because it's different for all the 5 different classes that they're showing the movie in and whatnot. So it took a while and whatnot, but it was really good. But one of the things was that while we were watching the movie, we had to take notes and stuff to write a paper on. And as I'm sure that I don't have the paper anymore, one of the things that I did was, one of the big things was finding the differences in the movie. Well, because I read the book like 1.5 times because I liked it so much, and because I was really into it, and because of how attentive to the movie I was, I found like 50 some different differences, ranging from really big to really small little things, and it was unbelievable. I think it was like find at least 10 or 12 or something was like the requirement. I found like 50 some. It was like unbelievable, and of course we went over them like the next day in class or whatever. So I was always just rattling all of these things off, and people were like, "Wait, that happened?" Of course, some of these kids were still like trying to finish the book while we were watching the movie. Like, oh, I don't know. It's like one of those like, oh, I won't read it. I'll just watch the movie and then take the test and stuff over it. Whatever. They wouldn't have done very well, but yeah, it was still a wonderful, excellent movie. I definitely one everybody should see, just because it's very quotable. I mean, the whole "Stay Golden, Pony Boy." Oh, that line and that scene gets me every time. Very wonderful. This was also the year for War Games, which spawned a sequel many years later. Um, let's see. I'm trying to see which one it is. Okay, so I found the sequel. I'm trying to find the original one that had Matthew Broderick in it. Oh, sorry, I spelled his name wrong. That was why. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that's War Games without a space in it, which is really strange. But the whole thing about War Games is Matthew Broderick plays this young hacker who hacks into some military computer, which is something like AI, and all of a sudden he's being hunted down and everything, and this AI wants to start World War III and everything with a whole bunch of nuclear stuff and everything, and there's the whole "do you want to play a game?" is the line. For those of you who watched Captain America Winter Soldier, the whole thing of Black Widow saying, "Do you want to play a game?" comes from War Games, in which case the game being chess, and the whole thing of Russian roulette, to where the idea is to put your opponent in a position to where the only move is to not move, because then you would put yourself into check and everything. So yes, Russian roulette, like get rid of all their possible movements and everything, to where like the one move to do is to not move at all, is the idea. And of course this spawned second one many years later in the early 2000s. War Games, the Dead Code. I don't remember it being called that, but it's very interesting. Had some more people, and I'm trying to look at it, but it's giving me an ad for some stupid movie. And yes, really good, very interesting. So Yeah, Williams is good. And then of course, because I'm a fan of all things James Bond, this was the year for Octopussy, which was a very interesting Bond film. It was along the lines of, yeah, those last couple Roger Moore were just very interesting. For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy, these were just sort of odd ones for them. They didn't really connect to each other in a way like the previous ones did, and so it was very interesting. Octopussy, of course, had a plethora of female actresses in it, because of the premise of it, of an island of complete females and everything, that they were on the island and whatnot, and everything. I believe this is where we're actually introduced to 008 or 003, I believe. Let me look that up. It's one of those, and if I remember correctly, there's a lot of people dressing up as clowns in this movie. For some reason, there's also a bomb on a train, I believe, 009, sorry. 009. There's that. There's also, like, the main it was really hard to tell who, like, the main bad guy and the main henchman were. They weren't, like, very easy to pick out like most Bond movies are, as they have this signature weapon or this signature feature about them. There really wasn't, except for the henchman who had this saw blade thing, to as like a saw blade like yo-yo. It was really interesting. That wasn't used like almost at all. It was used for just a couple scenes, which was really cool, and that was about it. And yeah, that was like the main big theme. It was a decent movie, but not that huge of a one. It was also one of those that I don't believe had a title specific theme to it. As most things are, like GoldenEye, its theme is GoldenEye. Living Daylights, the theme is the Living Daylights. Skyfall is Skyfall. But things like Doctor No, Quantum of Solace, Casino Royale, things like those, they don't have a title specific one. Casino Royale is You Know My Name. Quantum of Solace is just Another Way to Die. Spectre is Writing on the Wall. They aren't title specific, to where they don't really like include the name in the song or whatever. And I believe Octopussy was as well. I remember correctly, Octopussy, I believe that was All-Time High for that movie. Yes it was. Glad I remember that. The knowledge I have of very random things is very interesting to many different people. So, yes, that will conclude us for the years of movies. Not a whole lot, but now that we're getting much deeper into the 80s, we'll be seeing a lot more. And now, if you will excuse me, as you can probably tell, I have a cold, and so I'm going to blow my nose. So I'm going to take the headset off so it's not going to blow into your ears. Whew. That was a doozy. Alright. Now, continuing on in the fashion of the podcast, we're now going to be moving on, talking about one famous actor, one lucky actor today who has a wonderful birthday. We're going to see how it is they are doing and what movie they have been in is my favorite. Of course, today at a 34 years old, we are lucky enough to be talking about the famous Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway, famous actor for many famous movies, although when you look at her filmography, She has been in a whole lot. It says about 44 items, and yeah, it's one of those, like, she's not very much well known for her secondary roles in some movies. It's mainly where she's the lead or like the secondary lead in a movie. To where, yeah, she's always the most well known person in that movie, more likely or not. And yeah, she's just really good in a whole bunch. So we'll be going through all the ones I've seen and then picking out my favorite. Of course, the first one, which is actually the second thing that she was been in, is of course The Princess Diaries, playing Mia Thermopolis and everything. Disney movie, sort of cheesy, not really big fan. Then a couple years later, she was in Princess Diaries 2, as well as Ella Enchanted, which sort of like a pseudo fairy tale type thing of playing off of different movies, sort of like a Sleeping Beauty meets Cinderella meets Snow White meets, a whole bunch of different fairy tales mixed together, sort of thing. She was in The Devil Wears Prada, which, yes, I have seen the entire thing of. I used to watch a lot of movies with my mother. Very interesting. Let's see. She was in the 2008 movie Get Smart, a modern day remake of the TV show from, probably 60s, 70s if I had to take a guess, of the show Get Smart, of a whole bunch of agents. Of course, this one being slightly more of a parody, trying to be a lot more funny because of Steve Carell and Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it as well. I believe Alan Arkin also makes an appearance. Then she played the White Queen in the more modern day Alice in Wonderland, which it was very interesting. I still haven't decided how I felt about the remake, the one with Johnny Depp in it. It's not bad, it's not terrible, but yeah, this is not something that has caught my interest to where I've seen the sequel. Anne Hathaway voices Jewel, the blue parrot, in Rio and Rio 2. Then we get into a couple really wonderful roles, and that, of course, is Les Miserables, where she plays Fantine. Oh, Fantine. That moment, having read the fully unabridged version of Les Miserables, which is in itself an accomplishment, let me tell you. And just seeing the history of Fantine and the way she had to live her life just outside of the movie, how much more pain and sorrow she's had to go through, it's amazing. And the whole song of I Dreamed a Dream is heart-wrenching every time I see the movie, which hasn't been a lot, mostly because of how much the movie makes me cry. But the movie is just beautiful, and her part in it is just so well played that I don't know if anybody else could have done better. That year in 2012, she also was in The Dark Knight Rises as Selina Kyle, playing Catwoman, which one day I'll talk about Catwoman, as in the collective of the actresses who have played Catwoman, but she wasn't my favorite. She didn't do bad. She didn't do terrible. I won't say that. She just didn't, I think, live quite up to the Catwoman name, only because we don't see her as Catwoman very often. We see her a bit at the beginning and towards the end, and that's about it. And so we get a lot of her as Selina Kyle and the way she acts, but other than that, we don't. It's sort of like we needed like a secondary love interest to sort of counteract Marion Cotillard in the movie, Coultier. I forget that she's French, and I can never remember how to pronounce her last name. I am sorry, Alex, for failing you. Alex being my elementary French 1 and French 2 instructor from University of Iowa. I'm deeply sorry. Pardon-moi. So yes, she was then in Rio 2 in 2014, and in Interstellar, which For the life of me, I still have not seen the last 10 minutes of that stupid movie. I don't know why I've never just gone out and looked it, or just looked up the last 10 minutes, but I haven't. For some odd reason, I just haven't. I should. So it was a good movie up until the last 10 minutes when my computer died on me. And then a couple hours later, I was at college, and, well, that's how things started off last year. So I still have not seen it, but her acting in it is very good. The role she plays as the scientist and the way that she wants to go towards this goal and everything, and then how it all backfires and turns around, and they're trying to do things, and my door is creaking. Shh. It was really good, though probably not my favorite that I've seen her in. Then, of course, she was in Alice Through the Looking Glass, apparently, which I still haven't seen. Then, of course, looking into what other things that she is going to be doing, nothing that immediately sticks out to me, except for Ocean's 8. This, of course, being the... I don't know what they're calling it. I don't know if they're calling it a remake, a parody, the start of another trilogy, or what, but the idea is they're making an all-female cast. Sorry, something stuck in my throat. All-female cast Ocean's 11 movie. I don't know if they're going to do a series of it, but yeah, supposedly in about 2 years we're going to get it, starring Dakota Fanning, Helen Bonham Carter, Sarah Paulson, Anne Hathaway, of course Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Mindy Kaling, Rihanna, apparently. Yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be about, who people are going to be playing. Supposedly Sandra Bullock might be playing the same character she played in the Ocean's 11 series. I'm not sure, but it should be interesting to say the least. I hope they do well because I love the Ocean's movies, and I'm actually going to write that down because that would make a great idea for a topic for a podcast. So yeah, having to choose my favorite movie she's been in, it's a no competition deal. It's Les Miserables. Probably second being, probably either Interstellar or Dark Knight Rises. That's the thing with Anne Hathaway. She's either been in some really good movies as the lead, or she's been really good or really decent as like the secondary lead of a movie. And yeah, for some of them, they were good movies, but they were sort of meh, like The Princess Diaries. So yeah, I have to give it to Les Miserables. Just wonderful music, wonderful movie, beautiful, wonderful music, and all that has to go there. So thank you, Anne Hathaway. Happy birthday. Happy another year older, another year famous, and all of that jazz. And I'm going to take a very long drag of coffee here to hopefully try and clear my throat. Oh, yeah. Oh, I really have something stuck in my throat. I do not like it at all. Oh. Very sorry for the sickly stream. I don't think it was actually that bad. My sickness really wasn't all that bad this week and such, so... Yeah, so that sort of wraps up our main segment for beginning of this podcast. Now we can sort of get into a little more lively chit-chat with anybody watching in the live stream right now in the chat, or putting a view watching the rebroadcast, posting in the comments below, and I'll probably get to those comments or questions in the next podcast episode. Ooh. That moment when the coffee hits your gullet and it's like, whoo! So yes, we will talk about our main segment in just a little bit here. Otherwise, I just wanted to go over some very general stuff with you guys. Regarding recording and everything, as I always like to keep you guys updated. That things have been a little slow the past couple of weeks, only because of midterm studying, speeches, all of that. I haven't been able to record as much. Also finding what to record and being able to edit. My time hasn't been all there recently, so I'm sorry for that. Hopefully things should pick up a little bit here for a week or two till Thanksgiving, and then things will slow down as finals come up. I do have a final, I think, in all 5 of my classes, which sucks, but for some of them isn't going to be as bad. So there is that, but then once Christmas comes, depending on my work schedule, things might pick up a little bit. Maybe just because you'll get a little more variety of things. Talking about Batman, unfortunately, can't remember if I mentioned this in one of the Minecraft streams or not, or in the last podcast episode, but I ended up recording episode 3 of Batman the Telltale series, and about halfway through it, and it was loading and then it crashed for some reason in the game, just because I had to load a lot of graphics. It was a fight scene. And so I was like, okay. Well, one of the things I forgot is sometimes when the game crashes, my recording software will stop, or anything after that moment, it's like corrupt. It will keep it paused at like the same like couple second loop or something. Like it'll show the same frame, but the sound will be like from a couple seconds before, and it'll just loop it, which is an absolute pain. And so I was like, crap. I didn't realize that until I was done. So I was like, shoot. So I had to redo the episode. But the thing is with Telltale games, and I'm not sure if it's just because I couldn't figure it out or not, but the saving system there is very strange too. I went to restart the episode, but in doing that, it completely disregards everything you did in the first 2 episodes, all the choices you made and everything that would influence how the 3rd episode would be played. So, yeah, and I realized that when I was doing the opening intro, because Gordon was saying things that didn't happen. It said I saved somebody else when I saved this other person. And it was doing different choices I didn't make. It just chose them at random. So I was like, shoot. So I was like, okay. Well, I couldn't restart it. I was like, great. So what I had to do is, luckily I still had all my footage of everything. So I went back through all my footage, and I can still have the sheet here. I do. And I wrote down every dialogue choice, every non-fighting and non-extremely critical decision-making choice. I wrote it down. The top part is episode 1, the bottom part is episode 2. And I completely replayed the game. And it took forever. I mean, number one, just watching through all of my footage over again that took like a little over 3 hours just there, because each episode's about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it was like almost 4 hours worth of stuff that I had to go through. And then I had to go back to start from the beginning and play through all of it. And the thing is, that meant I had to go through all the fight scenes again. I had to go through all the dialogues. And the thing is I had to pay just super close attention, because I had to make sure I did all the right dialogue choices at the right time, just to make sure I didn't flub anything up to make the last episode 3, different. So it's like, alright, trying to do that. And there's like realizing, oh wait, in fight scenes, things might change if you do a certain action or you don't. Sometimes you just die, or sometimes you just do something differently. And I realized that in the first fight, to where I realized something was coming up, so I anticipated it. And apparently it was different from the first time I went through. Luckily it didn't change anything, but I was like, crap, I just had to be super critical of everything I did. That way I did it as much as I did it in the first playthrough. So I went all the way through that, And then I was like, okay. Then on to episode 3. Please ignore my drawing of Guy Fawkes down there. So I went through episode 3 of all the choices I made up until the game crashed. That's where you see those 3 A's. And that sort of begins where I started to read. And that's where I ended up starting the recording again. And so I have all the wonderful footage. Whew. And I got that done last night is when I did episode 3. The other 2 I did last weekend. Big old pain. Hopefully we should be getting episodes of that coming out this week. Golf with Friends, I haven't done any more lately. I played through a little bit for a couple ideas I had, and so I might get to those possibly later today, if not maybe next weekend, depending on how things look. Lego games probably won't be starting up until maybe Thanksgiving, otherwise I'll probably wait until after finals where I can play a whole bunch of it at one time to get out to you guys. Otherwise, the big thing going on, for any of you who have noticed, is Minecraft has returned to the Lego MacGyver channel, and that has been through Sky Factory on the live stream, which I've been having so much wonderful fun doing. Those of you who haven't noticed yet, I decided that I wanted to play Minecraft again. The best way to get back into that is to live stream it and do Sky Factory. And what that is, it's basically like a sky block, except you start out with one tree that you're standing on top of on one piece of dirt, and through a process of a very long process of getting materials and everything, the end game goes to things like filling up an entire chunk full of compressed cobblestone to making the biggest reactor possible that works, to automatic farming and whatnot. Whole bunch of stuff, to even taming of dragons, which I'm sure if I mention that to my girlfriend, she will just go absolutely crazy over, because she's a Game of Thrones addict and loves Daenerys Targaryen. Or Khaleesi is, I believe she's named. I still haven't seen it. I haven't finished reading it, so please no spoilers, even though I know a lot of the major ones already. So yeah, Minecraft's been going awesome. The first episode went without a hitch. Tons of people watched it. I just did the second episode yesterday. You can go see the rebroadcast of that on my channel right now. Completely unedited. So, of course, when I say unedited, I mean it's the full thing. I didn't change stuff out. And it also means that there's nothing raunchy in it either. Although there is many pinnacle moments where I was very close to doing such. So, go check that out. Lots of fun, lots of hilarity there. Go laugh at me. Go criticize me in the comments. So that's been going wonderful. I'm looking to do it again next week, the 19th. Doing it for another couple hours. Yeah, it's just been this really fun thing that I've had to do a bit of grinding on outside of the game, mainly just to get things like saplings. Not doing too much progress, but yeah, it's been really fun. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope to do much, much more. Woo. Coffee just went cold there, so I'm going to refresh in just a minute there before we go into our main topic. There's been that going on. Otherwise, the other thing I want to show you guys is I'm a big fan of the new show MacGyver and everything. I won't go into much detail between that and the old one today, but yeah, one of the main things that the new show MacGyver does is every episode at some point Mac gets his hands on a paperclip of some sort. Those of you who live under a rock or don't remember what a paperclip is, that is one of these, paperclip. So yeah, one of the things is he takes paperclip and he makes it into some sort of object. I can try and look something up here. Alright. See if I can find anything from the newest show. Otherwise, it's probably just going to give me a whole bunch of stuff from the old one, which is what it should be, but it is not showing me. let's type in new. It's not showing me. Shoot. Oh, well, so you guys will just have to go and find out themselves. But he takes the paperclip, he bends it out of shape and everything, and turns it into something else that represents. And so I had this box of, these are the small paper clips. They're, yeah, I don't have a banana for scale, but about the size of your thumb or whatever. They are, yeah, number one paper clips, you're wondering at all. So the little smaller version of a normal paper clip. And so I got into, I was like, maybe I can do some art. And so yeah, this is just some of the things I've done, trying to like figure out. There we go. I'll just put it against my hair. So yeah, this is just me bending a paper clip with, yeah, my hands, or yeah, using like MacGyvering my way to bend it in some sort of fashion. So yeah, different things, more of just trying to make a whole bunch of little curls in there. And of course, the thing is because I'm using the very small ones, it's a lot harder to actually bend them as it is like a fuller scale one. So just trying to go for like a sword, like a dagger there. What else? Oh, this is one of my favorites, a little 007 that I made. And these are a couple more my recent ones, sort of like the YouTube play button-esque. This one came out a lot better, sort of a beaker, science beaker. This I was trying to do like the K Jewelers combined hearts little logo. This one took forever to try and do the Kingdom Hearts crown. Didn't turn out as well, but there you go. I have a keyhole and key, so you know, fit together and fall on forward. Very professional right now. So yeah, and then the one that I just recently did, which is this, which Dude Perfect logo. So yeah, thought I would show you guys those. I do at least one or two. I try and do them while the episode is going on. For any of you who want to watch the new MacGyver show, you can find it on CBS Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Would mean 8 o'clock East Coast, I believe. 6 o'clock Mountain, and 5 Pacific, I think that's how it works. I don't know. Check your local provider or cable or dish or whatever it is you have that you watch stuff on. So yes, that is how things are going. Let's see. We actually haven't had a podcast since we entered November. Yeah, we didn't do it last week. So yes, one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about is how you guys liked Inktober over on my blog. That was, of course, Inktober being me posting different things I had drawn or written and stuff, posting them, which I kept getting behind on, and then catching up, then getting behind, then catching up and such, so back and forth. But yeah, just wanted to know how you guys enjoyed that, if you want me to do the same sort of thing next year, just with more newer, more original content that, yeah, I'd have done since this past one, or, yeah, what you guys are thinking about there. Of course, I am trying to do No Shave November, which surprisingly I've actually grown quite a bit. Although one of the things I noticed last time when I shaved is I didn't shave this little thing right here. You can't really see it, but it's this little group of hairs right here, and they've grown a little long, and they've actually been like really annoying. I don't know why. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's currently the 12th, so we're let's see. Oh, we're not really, a little over a third of the way through. yeah, we're like just over a third of the way through the month, so we will see what it becomes. Probably not much if I had to guess. So, yes, it's probably all needs to be said there. So we're going to take a little break here for any of you watching and for myself to refresh on coffee and everything. Make sure I have everything ready for the next segment and whatnot, and we will convene in just a couple minutes. For those of you who are watching the broadcast or those of you watching live and are ready and ready to go, you guys can go ahead and praise my breakfast club poster. I don't know. Say hi to the chair or one of my many codes. But I'll be right back. Oh. Alright. Hopefully we should be good. Hopefully I took care of my nose, my schnoz, and my throat. Good enough. Hopefully I sound possibly a little better. Otherwise, if not, well, hopefully by next week I'll be better. Just have to drink a lot of warm liquids today to try and clear up my throat. You know what? With the colder weather outside, cup of hot apple cider, warms my spirit just thinking about it. One thing I forgot to do is close the door. Just for sound quality and such. Okay. So, hopefully all of you enjoyed your break. Otherwise, if not, I hope you all enjoyed praising my poster or my coats. It's a little hard to see my chair, so yes. So, we'll be getting on to then, I guess, the main portion or the main topic for today's podcast. In which case, that was last time I introduced the question of if you were able to time travel, how would you travel through time? Would you do it something more like the TARDIS or the DeLorean, or you want to do something a little more handheld, like Hermione's Time Turner, or are you one of those who just want it as a superpower so you can use it whenever you want to without much effort? So we'll be talking about that today, in which, yes, I have divided up into 3 different categories. I have divided up into, number 1, machines. This meaning that you actually get in something or you operate something more larger than something that is handheld in order to travel through time. 2, handheld devices. This is, of course, like Hermione's Time Turner and something you can hold or have on your person. And then, of course, number 3 is having time travel as like a superpower. So yes, we will start there, and we're going to actually start with powers. So I'm going to talk about them for a little bit and sort of explain them and different people, whatever, and then I'll sort of get into a little more of what it is I would do. So with powers, we have many different people. We have, for those of you who are fans of Flash, you know, he of course is the Scarlet Speedster, and of course the thing with Flash and time travel is the fact that Flash, either when he's emotional enough or when he can just reach high enough speed, he can actually travel back or forward in time, depending on how it is that he is feeling and whatnot. So there is, of course, him being able to do that. There is, of course, you know, Superman, the whole iconic him flying around the world fast enough to reverse its axis, which turns back time, which makes no sense at all. I mean, I can't remember who originally wrote Superman comics, but that is just... I don't know if there's any science that backs that up. I mean, the idea behind him doing that doesn't make much sense, because all you do is reversing the axis of the Earth. That doesn't reverse time. If you wanted to reverse time, Superman would actually have to spin around like the entire universe, because just rewinding time on Earth doesn't mean that time will rewound everywhere else in the universe, especially in the realm of Superman and stuff with aliens. Just because you reverse time on Earth doesn't mean reverse time on every other planet. Because, yeah, it just wouldn't work. Otherwise, you could just fly out to Krypton, where it exploded, just fly around that long and fast enough to reverse time there and everything. It wouldn't work. You would have to do it to, like, the entire mass universe, which, depending on how you view the universe, is either an infinitesimal thing that you can never reach the end of, or it has a finite limit, in which case then Superman would find the restaurant at the end of the universe. In which case then, of course, you get to the whole interpretation of the word end. Is it end as in like the tail end, as it's like something at the end of a cliff, or is this like the end as in the end at the end of a movie, like it's done? So, you know, there was of course that. So I'm a big fan of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I had to indulge myself in a little bit of Douglas Adams humor there. So there's, of course, Superman, which I really wouldn't consider much of a time traveler, but, you know, there's different universes. There is, of course, for those of you who have watched Doctor Strange, and I will not get into spoiler territory here. Anything that I say will be very obvious for people of the comics or something, and so will not be spoilers. Doctor Strange, of course, because of his magic and everything and some of his item, he possesses time travel powers and whatnot, to where he can, of course, do different magic things and, you know, do stuff where he can manipulate time and make things to go back and forth and travel through time, as is apparent mainly through the comics. I won't say anything about the movie, except for the fact that it was amazing. Possibly top 3 best Marvel movie ever. Hands down. I mean, I thought Benedict Cumberbatch would be an amazing actor to play just for the appearance, but him actually portraying, I was like, it could be a little iffy. He's not really American, but I was like, he did an amazing job. I don't know if anybody could have done better, especially some of the other people that they were thinking of getting to play Doctor Strange. I'm so glad they didn't. Only because they would have ruined the movie for my brother and I. We were big Doctor Strange fans. That's a topic for another day. So he, of course, can do that. There is, for those of you who are fan of the very popular show a couple years ago that was Heroes, starring a whole slew of actors that I won't get into, but there was Hero, who was famous for being able to travel back and forth through time, sort of not by his own means, but as he furthers along. I've only seen the first season, so please bear with me for continuity's sake, being able to control time a little more, which is just very cool, and he's sort of just, it's sort of like his superpower. So he's sort of like the main person who can just sort of do it off and on whenever he wishes, or, there's a little off and on. Otherwise, there is, I included this in here just because it was interesting and it's not really worthwhile. So, for those of you who saw X-Men Days of Future Past, many might consider Kitty Pryde having some elements, Ellen Page's character, some elements of time travel with sending Wolverine back into the past to change different things. And I really only say that because it's not so much as like Professor Xavier giving people thoughts exactly, only because what Wolverine does in the past does change the future, which is only why I include it, partially because of the fact that, yeah, if she was doing something like Professor Xavier just putting thoughts into his brain or whatever and everything, it wouldn't matter, because even if she changed ideas of what he did in the past, it still wouldn't change the past. So, yeah, just that there. So, yeah, I'll include it in there. Otherwise, of course, for different power stuff, there's the whole using black holes and Einstein brig loops and things like that, where you see different things. Otherwise, we get to handheld time travel devices. Probably one of the more well-known thing is, of course, Hermione's little time toner, which I actually gave my girlfriend one year for her birthday, and she loved it. Of course, it's this little hourglass thing among these different rotating loops, which spins on axes, and you can spin it, and it will send you back in time. Why she was only using that to take multiple classes, I don't know, but, she's the Rory Gilmore of the Wizarding world. Huh. I never realized that until just now when I said it. Very interesting. So there, of course, is that, which is mainly prominent upon the third movie of the Harry Potter series, Prisoner of Azkaban. Why they never used that time toner anywhere else in the series, I have no clue. I mean, for gosh sakes, when you have something that powerful, you'd think you would use it a lot more, but apparently not. They introduced an invisibility cloak in the first movie. Don't see that used very often later on. I mean, that's one of the things that bugs me with series like that, is when they introduce something and they don't use it later on in the series. It's like, hey, this works. Use it. I don't know. I've never read the book, so I don't know. They've changed things, but yeah, my opinion on Harry Potter is a very different topic for a very different day. So there is a course in the Doctor Who series, which we'll get on in a little bit, of the Vortex Manipulator. Basically what this is this little leather gauntlet sort of thing that you wear, and you can bring you back and forth in time and different places. Manipulates time and where you are in it, which was mainly prominent. This is, of course, the recent Doctor Who, so starting from Christopher Eccleston to what is now Peter Capaldi, with David Tennant and Matt Smith in between there. John Hurt is also in there as the War Doctor, but he doesn't use the manipulator at all, so we don't need to worry about that. Anyways, so Vortex Manipulator first being used by Jack Harkness, played by the one and only John Barrowman. Very wonderful actor, very funny, and everything. And whatnot. Him showing up in Christopher Eccleston's Doctor Who in Season 1. And then, of course, going throughout until, Season 3? Pretty sure it's Season 3. Or 4. 3 or 4 is where he ends there. Of course, he's also in Torchwood and everything, and that's where he has the glove. Then we start seeing the glove used a lot more once we meet Matt Smith, and we are introduced to River Song and the very complicated timeline with her and everything, and that's sort of how she travels along and everything. And yeah, trying to follow her timeline is bonkers. So just trying to figure out how this vortex manipulator works is about as easy to figure out as her timeline. Then of course we delve into a little bit into video games, to where one of the more prominent things in video games for time travel is from The Legend of Zelda and the Ocarina of Time. Of course, this Ocarina being able to teleport you to different places in the world as need be, and also possessing some time travel-y stuff as well. I've never played the game, but I watched the Game Grumps play it, partially because I liked their humor from it, not because of the gameplay, which they still did a wonderful job from what I can see of the game. It's a very wonderful game and everything, so yes. Otherwise, other things is from Prince of Persia, probably one of the more criticized Disney films, which I personally didn't think they did all that bad with. Of course, this is when we were really fully introduced to the actor Jake Gyllenhaal, where his name was really big around then, and nobody understood how to pronounce Gyllenhaal because it has like 12 L's, a couple random G's, and I think a Y somewhere in there. I don't know. Why he kept the last name, I'm not sure, but hey, c'est la vie. So yeah, of course, Prince of Persia with the dagger with the sand in it, you press the button and it can rewind time for a little bit and everything. Very funny, very cool there, very intricate dagger. I love the Lego version of the dagger. It's very cool. Used for many different things. Then, of course, getting a little more into romance, and something probably many of you didn't really think about, but I know it because I saw the movie, which is a wonderful movie. If any of you people out there who like a little bit of time travel, or just very big into romance, watch The Lake House with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves. You will not be disappointed. And, of course, how does time travel work there? Well, there is this mailbox at this lake house, and the thing is Keanu Reeves' character and Sandra Bullock's character exchange letters through this mailbox, even though each of them are 5 years apart. I believe it's 5 years apart from each other. Where, I'm trying to remember, is she gets to the lake house 5 years after he leaves it, but he goes back for some reason and gets this letter. And so they pass letters back and forth through this mailbox. And so I consider it time travel there because there's 5 years difference, and these letters are going back and forth to these people through it, and it's really amazing. It's really good, super romantic. It's an amazing movie. One of my mother's favorites. So there is that. I consider that handheld just because it's not really a machine. It's not really a power. Of course, it's not really handheld either, but it's sort of in that world of its own. Then, of course, we get to machines, something that's a little bigger that you can't super easily carry around with you. And, of course, we will start with the Doctor Who, the very prominent, the TARDIS, the time and relative dimensions in space. TARDIS, a big blue police box. Why is it a police box? Well, it's because the chameleon circuit broke, and that is what it's stuck on, and he's just never fixed it. Of course, there's the whole thing of the sound of the TARDIS is actually the brake system that he just never releases and everything. Of course, everybody apparently knows that but him, and he just keeps it on. Anyways, tons of stuff about that. I won't get into too much of the plot of Doctor Who because plot of Doctor Who, can we say continuity? No. Anyways, there's of course the TARDIS, which can take you anywhere in the universe and any time in the universe, except certain places where he's not allowed to go, partially because of things that have happened with him or other people in the past, to where that time stream is either blocked, or because if he goes back, certain things will happen. Very much like once he goes through a certain time period, he can't really go back, in fear of seeing himself or other people with certain other people, and things will happen, and paradoxes will ensue, and the whole reality of time and space and things will be ripped apart, or something, I don't know. But anyways, there is of course the TARDIS, very universal, very easy to use, sort of. Of course, every time you sort of see the Doctor sort of using it, he's just pulling random levers, pressing different buttons, dialing, calling different things, moving this monitor around the central column. It's very hard to really tell how it is he actually uses it, but you know, it's very cool. Then of course we get the DeLorean from the Back to the Future series. Of course, there is the train at the end of number 3, but that's not shown very prominent unless you watch the animated Back to the Future series. So the DeLorean, very wonderful, very easy thing. Why the DeLorean? Well, because of its aerodynamics and the materials made out of. I don't know the full speech by Doc Brown, but it's a very wonderful, beautiful vehicle. I just realized I still had Anne Hathaway up on my other screen. That was getting creepy with her looking at me. Sorry. So there's the DeLorean, which in many movies is powered off of different things. One of them being, is it plutonium? Yeah, I believe it's like weapons-grade plutonium in the first movie, which is why the Ukrainian government is after him and what's not. But yeah, the DeLorean will take you anywhere in time from where the DeLorean is. So you can drive the DeLorean around, and wherever you get up to 88 miles per hour, it will send you to that spot in that time. So if I used the DeLorean right here in Vermilion, and I used it, it would take me back or forward however many years here in Vermilion. Or if I drove it back to my hometown in Orange City, same thing. Anytime forward or backwards in time, but in Orange City is where I would land. I can't do it here and end up in New York 20 years ago. It's wherever I start off with the DeLorean, which makes sense in some reasons. It's not like the TARDIS where you could just say, oh, I want to go to this place at this time, and it happens. Which makes sense. Sorry, I'm trying to drink my coffee while it's warm. So there is that. There is probably one of my other favorites, which is none of you have been able to tell partially because it's been covered by the camera from my shirt. It's from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, one of the first things Keanu Reeves was in. Lots of Keanu Reeves today. Be excellent to each other. That is because Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure actually happens because they are given this phone booth which helps them travel through time. All they have to do is to ring in the special coordinates of this phone. It will take them to a specific time and a specific place in history or in the future. Very cool, very funny movie. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and look it up. It's wonderful, but I wouldn't suggest seeing the sequel. It's not as good as the first one, so see the first one, love it, enjoy it, and just scratch the second one off as not needing to. Then, of course, getting into a little bit of books, of course, for time travel, probably one of the other very famous ones in comics is, of course, Calvin and Hobbes with their cardboard boxes. The thing with Calvin and Hobbes is you take a cardboard box and you can write whatever you want on it. It can be a transmogrifier, or it can be a time machine, it can be a spaceship. It can be whatever you want it to be. And so I only put that in because, a little funny thing to add in. And yeah, for those of you who are lovers of comics and whatnot, I would put it in. Otherwise, there is, of course, probably one of the more iconic images of a time machine is the time machine from The Time Machine. Now, why am I saying The Time Machine over and over? That is because it is from the H.G. Wells book, The Time Machine, and The Time Machine from there. This is the iconic big old dish behind this very intricate sort of Victorian-esque chair with then this casino slot machine-like lever with these different colored lights and this rolling thing in front of you, and you pull the lever, the disc behind you spins, and you're traveling through time! Which I actually read the book when I was in high school, I believe it was. Very wonderful story. I understand why so many people like it. It's very good. And so, yeah, it's other main time things. So, now that we've sort of covered a whole bunch of different things, what is it that I would use? Well, as much as it's cool to have time travel as like a power, I wouldn't want it like Flash or Superman to where I actually have to do something to be able to. I want it to just innately have it, like either Hero or Doctor Strange, where I have like some little thing that helps me use it, which would be pretty cool. It's very easy, very accessible, but I don't think it's as impressive for when I want to like take somebody with me. To where then it's like, okay, either handheld or a machine. Well, handheld is very handy just because it's something that can either be hidden, it's very accessible, but it's still not all that impressive, and things can happen to it. They can easily, I want to say like more easily break, and it's a lot harder to fix maybe? I don't know, it seems like with the time turner it's something that can easily break, and you could fix it, but I don't know. I'm very much one. I want to stick to the classic. I want something much bigger, something I actually have to like fully operate in order to do. But I want something that also looks nice as well. To where if I really had to choose, I'd probably choose something like the DeLorean. I'd choose like a vehicle maybe. Like I would love something that's a cross between the DeLorean and the tortoise. And as I'm sure there are a ton of fan images out there of what such a thing looks like, I want to show you my favorite because I think it looks absolutely awesome. Of course, it's probably going to take me forever because they're not going to find the exact one, which sucks because I love this image of it. Shoot, I'm just going to have to use something that... Oh, here it is! Okay. So now I will bring that up here. And zoom and enhance. Whoop! Ta-da! That's what it is. Hello. This is sort of like what I was thinking. Like along the lines of like you combine the two together. Like I want a vehicle like the DeLorean, something that I like drive or something. Something that looks cool like that. But something that can take me anywhere in the universe and anywhere in time, like the tortoise. I want the tortoise in the DeLorean, essentially. Which would be, yeah, just really cool, and it's sort of how I would want to, yeah, travel through time is. I want something that looks really cool and can do all of the things that's possible. But, yeah, and the fact that, yeah, with something like DeLorean, I could easily take a companion with me. Maybe not many, but, you know, maybe the tortoise DeLorean is bigger on the inside. I don't know. But yeah, that's sort of what I would do. I want something that's, yeah, something a little bigger, something that's, like, impressive to actually have versus just some sort of watch that I can reverse time or something with. So, yeah, because the tortoise, sure, having the tortoise, it has all of those things, but I don't know. I want to say it's maybe not as inconspicuous because sure, it's a police box. It sort of stands out any other time than when police boxes were popular, unless you hide it. So yeah, I'd probably do something a little more like the DeLorean. Maybe something that can actually drive. So yeah, that's probably what I would do there. So yeah, doesn't look like we have very many people in the chat right now. So yeah, any of you out there watching this as the rebroadcast, go ahead and post in the comments what it is you would use if you could travel through time. Would you use something that's a little more bigger, like a machine, a little more handheld, or would you have it as some sort of superpower? Oh, so good. So good. So yeah, that will actually bring us towards the close of today's podcast. I might talk about a few things here, so I will open it up to the chat if any of you have any questions for me. Otherwise, I will propose the question and topic for next week here in just a little bit. Otherwise, different things going on, not a whole lot. Might do some recording today. Might do some editing for sure of different videos. Yeah, coming up probably another Minecraft Sky Factory live stream next week, Saturday. Then of course it will be Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing then. I know I don't work during that time just because of scheduling and whatnot, so I'm not sure what it is I'll be recording or when or if I'll be live streaming at all. This all depends on schedules of different people and things. So yeah, so stay on the lookout on my social media. Usually just Facebook is where I post when streams are going to be happening and how close they're getting to and information about that. So stay tuned there. Otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot happening right now, mainly because I'm trying to balance this end with school, so things are going to be iffy. Well, the next couple of weeks, things might pick up a little bit, then they'll probably slow down as finals come up. So yeah. Otherwise, yeah, it just looks like Chad is a little slow today. Not many people, which, yeah, sure, many people are probably enjoying their wonderful weekends. I'm not sure what the temperature is outside, but probably not what I would like it to be. So, I'm going to go ahead and post my question to the chat and to anybody watching for next time, which, if I had to guess, next podcast will probably be during Thanksgiving. Just because if next week I'm doing a live stream for Minecraft, I won't do the podcast. So probably sometime during Thanksgiving, I will be doing the next episode of the Chitty-Chat cast, to where our next topic is going to be magicians / illusionists. We're going to be covering a whole huge topic of magic, which I'm sure there was probably great debate over. So what I mean by magicians and illusionists that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about any magicians or illusionists. Talking about things like the Prestige, the Illusionist, talking about Doctor Strange, Harry Potter, magic users in general. We're going to be talking about those, different types, and who we think is either the best or who we would most like to be. So keep that in mind, either that or post down in the comments of this video, or keep it in mind for next time. So, thank you guys all so very much for watching the Chitty-Chat cast, podcast dedicated to talk about random stuff, because why not? I've been your host, Lego MacGyver. Hello. To all of you master builders and chitty chatters out there, stay bricky, keep building, and I will see you guys all next time.